headlines of VTV News. Vietnam and Malaysia upgrade relationship to comprehensive strategic partnership. Vietnamese Prime Minister holds talks with President of Dominican Republic. And later on in our world news, Russia arrests German for terrorist activities.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello and welcome to VTV News, broadcast live to you from Hanoi. You're with me, Lina Pham, and here's the top news of the hour. General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam's Central Committee, Tô Lâm, on Thursday held talks with Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim following an official welcome ceremony held for the Vietnamese leader at the Prime Minister's office in Putrajaya City.
The official visit to Malaysia by General Secretary Tô Lâm and his spouse plays an important role in strengthening solidarity among ASEAN members and reaffirms Vietnam's commitment to fostering a friendly neighborly relationship and strategic partnership with Malaysia. During the talks, the two leaders expressed satisfaction with the strong, deep, and comprehensive development of Vietnam-Malaysia relations since their diplomatic ties were established in 1973. The two leaders agreed to elevate the Vietnam-Malaysia relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership for the benefit of their people, as well as for peace, sustainable development, and prosperity in ASEAN and the world. They reached a common agreement on major directions to strengthen cooperation in key areas of the Vietnam-Malaysia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. Following their talks, the two leaders witnessed the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between the Vietnam Trade Promotion Agency and the Malaysia External Trade Development Corporation, and another between the Vietnam Oil and Gas Group and Malaysia's national oil and gas company, Petronas. Then, the two leaders met with the press to discuss the outcomes of their talks.
The General Secretary has been very forthcoming and supportive, so are the leaders in Vietnam, and I think that we have expressed our appreciation, and therefore we will make sure that we will facilitate the collaboration in all fields, defense, marine, as you have seen also the two MOUs, Trade and Petronas, and digital, and also energy using the ASEAN energy grid.
Vietnam pledges to enhance connectivity between the two economies, striving to achieve a bilateral trade turnover of $18 billion in a balanced and mutually beneficial direction. The two sides will strengthen cooperation in the development of the halal industry, as well as ensuring mutual benefits from oil and gas cooperation. Both countries will also enhance cooperation in emerging fields and other key areas.
General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam CPV Central Committee Tô Lâm had a meeting with Speaker of the Malaysian House of Representatives Tan Sri Dato Johari bin Abdul in Kuala Lumpur on November the 21st as part of the Vietnamese leader's official visit to Malaysia. Both sides affirmed their status as key economic partners of each other, sharing interests and similar perspectives on regional and global matters. The Vietnamese leader updated Johari on the outcomes of his talks with Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, during which they agreed to elevate the bilateral relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership. This milestone makes Malaysia the first Southeast Asian nation to have the highest relationship framework with Vietnam. He urged the Malaysian Parliament, particularly the House of Representatives, to collaborate with Vietnam's National Assembly to oversee the effective implementation of agreements and documents and work towards signing a cooperation agreement between the Vietnamese National Assembly and the Malaysian Parliament in the coming time. Reaffirming Malaysia's respect for its relations with Vietnam, the Speaker committed closer collaboration to enhance peace, friendship, and stability in Southeast Asia and improve the position and role of ASEAN. General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam Central Committee Tô Lâm met with the President of the Malaysian Senate, Dato Awang Bemi Awang Ali Basa, in Kuala Lumpur on November the 21st as part of the Vietnamese leaders' ongoing official visit to Malaysia. The two leaders agreed to direct relevant agencies to swiftly develop and implement a comprehensive action plan to realize the agreed cooperation directions, recognizing the importance of collaboration between the Malaysian Parliament and the Vietnamese National Assembly. The Vietnamese party chief proposed both sides review and negotiate new cooperation agreements to create strong momentum and establish a solid foundation for future bilateral relations. He hoped that the Malaysian Parliament will provide favorable conditions for the Vietnamese community living and working in Malaysia. The two leaders shared a common viewpoint on the importance of maintaining peace and stability in the East Sea, upholding international law and respecting states' legitimate rights and interests in line with the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS 1982. They underscored the need to settle disputes through peaceful measures, not use or threaten to use force, avoid activities inconsistent with international law that complicate the situation, implement the declaration of the Code of Conduct of Parties in the East Sea DOC, and expedite negotiations to achieve an effective and substantive Code of Conduct in the East Sea or COC. Vietnamese Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính and President of the Dominican Republic Luis Abinader Corona held talks in Santo Domingo on November the 20th local time as part of the Vietnamese government leaders' official visit to the Caribbean country.
Both leaders affirmed the significance of the first high-level visit since Vietnam and the Dominican Republic that established their diplomatic ties on July 7, 2005. Hailing it as a historic milestone and a vital impetus for elevating the bilateral ties to a new stage of deeper and more practical development. They agreed to expand and deepen bilateral cooperation in all areas, particularly in the economy, trade, investment, avoiding double taxation, agriculture, science and technology. They also discussed collaborating in terms of the digital economy, telecommunications, renewable energy, security and crime prevention, sustainable tourism development, culture, education, environmental protection, and climate change response, amongst other things. Following the talks, the two leaders chaired a joint press conference and announced the Vietnam-Dominican Republic Joint Declaration. It reaffirmed the determination of both governments and outlined the directions and measures agreed upon to further strengthen the solidarity, friendship, and cooperation between the two countries in the future.
Prime Minister Pham Minh Chin's visit will further expand cooperation, aiming to concretize the cooperation goals between the two countries. During the talks, we discussed measures to promote bilateral relations, including areas such as defense, telecommunications, oil and gas, and tourism, where Vietnam has significant potential.
We share similar ideals, such as fighting for independence and ensuring the happiness and prosperity of our people. Our economies can support each other to foster mutual development. Both countries have long-standing cultures and significant geopolitical positions. The political trust between our two nations is very high. We both aim to build strong nations and ensure the happiness of our peoples.
The two leaders agreed to immediately implement several tasks to concretize the agreements reached, bringing tangible benefits to both countries.
Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính had separate meetings with President of the Dominican Republic Senate, Ricardo de los Santos Polanco, and President of the Chamber of Deputies, Alfredo Pacheco, in Santo Domingo on the afternoon of November the 20th local time, as part of the Vietnamese leaders' official visit to the Caribbean country. The host leaders hailed the visit's historical significance as Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính is the first high-ranking Vietnamese leader to visit the Dominican Republic, It comes at a time when the two countries have seen positive strides in their relationship towards the 20th anniversary of their diplomatic ties on July the 7th, 2025. The Vietnamese leader said that Vietnam treasures its historic friendship and multifaceted cooperation with the Dominican Republic as part of its broader foreign policy towards the Latin America-Caribbean region, and specifically with the Dominican Republic's Congress. They were also committed to strongly supporting the early negotiations on agreements on free trade, investment protection, cultural and education training cooperation, and visa exemptions for ordinary passport holders. The party and state of Vietnam always placed great importance on strengthening and enhancing the good neighborliness, traditional friendship, and comprehensive cooperation and long-term sustainability between Vietnam and Cambodia for the benefit of both nations' people and for peace, stability, cooperation, and development in the region and the world. National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn made the affirmation at his talks with President of the Cambodia National Assembly Samdech Hun Sundari in Phnom Penh on November the 21st as part of his official visit to the neighboring country. The National Assembly leaders exchanged views on the socio-economic development situation in each country and discussed concrete and effective measures to promote cooperation between the two countries and their legislatures in the coming time. Both leaders noted with pleasure cooperation in defense and security remains a cornerstone of the Vietnam-Cambodia relationship, contributing to the political stability and development in each nation. Meanwhile, economic trade and investment cooperation has been growing rapidly and yielding encouraging results. Coming up next, solutions sought to enhance information security. And a unique art of creating ball-jointed dolls. You're watching VTV News. The National Assembly held a plenary session to discuss the draft resolution on piloting the implementation of commercial housing projects through agreements on receiving land use rights or having land use rights, agreeing with the necessity of developing a draft resolution to institutionalize the party's policy, increase conditions for accessing land for commercial housing development, contribute to socio-economic development, increase the supply of housing, and meet people's needs. The deputies also agreed with a pilot implementation nationwide, but not on a mass or general basis. It only applies to urban areas. The rice fields and agricultural land cannot be taken indiscriminately. According to the deputies, when the resolution is passed, there should be principles to have a healthy real estate market and avoid creating land fever. Last night, Vietnam time, the UN General Assembly held elections for members of the United Nations Commission on International Trade Law for the 2025 to 2031 term. Vietnam was honored to be selected as one of the candidates from the Asia-Pacific region, securing a significant number of votes. Our VTV correspondent from New York, United States, provides detailed coverage.
Vietnam was elected for the second consecutive term with 175 of 183 votes. In the Asia-Pacific region, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, Sri Lanka, China, Japan, and South Korea were also elected. The high number of votes from these countries is a recognition of the contributions from the previous term and the achievements of all aspects of Vietnam's diplomatic cooperation in recent years.
Vietnam's contributions have been recognized by the international community, highlighting Vietnam's sense of responsibility. We were nominated as a candidate by the entire Asia-Pacific group as early as June 2024, which provided a strong foundation for securing a high number of votes in the recent election.
Vietnam's re-election to Yoon Sik-yeol for a second consecutive term reflects its active integration into multilateral law, gaining international experience and contributing to the UN's work. Vietnam, along with the other elected countries, will begin a 6-year term in the International Trade Law Commission in July 2025. With its experience, Vietnam is expected to play a key role in shaping fairer and more suitable international trade laws.
Each day, Vietnam handles approximately 50,000 user alerts regarding potential information security threats. Additionally, cyber attacks are becoming increasingly sophisticated, often supported by AI. This underscores the urgent need for network service providers to enhance solutions ensuring user information security. These pressing issues were the key topics discussed at the Vietnam Information Security Day 2024 held on Thursday in Hanoi.
It was proposed that Internet service providers need to enhance their responsibility to protect users from accessing sources of illegal or insecure information. Additionally, digital content providers must apply technology to block and remove illegal content from the Internet and classify and display warnings for inappropriate content.
For customers who do not use our services, we integrate the solution into their Wi-Fi systems to ensure their protection. To identify harmful data, we utilize threat intelligence data purchased from global organizations, as well as insights from our own network.
Service providers offering solutions to ensure network user safety will establish a technical foundation to protect users as they engage in digital transformation.
According to the Ministry of Information and Communications, the number of cyber attacks in the first 9 months of 2024 decreased by 55% compared to the same period last year. The National Monitoring System successfully blocked over 14,000 malicious websites, safeguarding more than 11.3 million users. However, cyber attacks continue to evolve, becoming increasingly sophisticated and complex, especially with the support of AI.
Heads of agencies and organizations must closely coordinate with relevant authorities in sharing information and data to detect and provide early warnings of potential cybersecurity threats.
In Vietnam, both authorities and businesses are focusing on key tasks, such as developing open data and promoting unified nationwide digital platforms. Therefore, establishing a secure online environment for government, businesses, and citizens is crucial. This forms the foundation for successfully implementing and advancing national digital transformation.
Every year, thousands of families across Vietnam suffer losses due to natural disasters. Many areas are struggling to cope with the impacts of climate change, such as saltwater intrusion and drought. Understanding these challenges, many organizations and businesses have launched meaningful social programs to support the community in recent years.
Hon Truy, an island in the Southwest Sea belonging to Cà Mau province, covers about 7 square kilometers and is home to 3 border guard stations and around 30 households. The island relies entirely on rainwater for its water supply, making tanks like these vital for families living there.
I was given a water tank before, but it was broken and unusable.
Understanding these difficulties, this unit donated 33 water tanks to the people and forces on Hon Truy Island at a cost of $4,500.
Freshwater tanks will support the daily needs of the people, helping them feel secure.
Since 2020, nearly 14,000 water tanks have been donated in the Mekong Delta, and 357,000 trees have been planted to restore protective and mangrove forests in coastal areas.
Through this afforestation program, we aim to create more livelihoods for people, such as shrimp farming in mangrove forests, while also contributing to disaster mitigation in the area.
Protective forests play a crucial role in environmental protection and climate change mitigation. Only reforestation can ensure the safety of sea dikes.
Not only does climate change cause economic losses, but it also impacts social life, especially for rural communities. In this context, programs like this need to be replicated to help people adapt to the extreme impacts of nature.
Charming little dolls, seemingly simple toys, have been transformed into unique works of art, featuring flexible movements and lifelike expressions. Bùi Thịnh Đa, a talented young artist from Sóc Trăng, has gained recognition for his high-end ball-jointed dolls, which have attracted significant attention and demand from international clients.
Beautiful faces, flexible gestures, lively expressions, just like a living character. The creator of these unique works is Bùi Thịnh Đa, a 20-year-old artist who has spent 9 years perfecting the art of ball-jointed dolls, which mimic real human posture with flexible ball joints.
I learned to make ball-jointed dolls through books and the internet, creating my own process. It's not just about sculpting. You need to understand anatomy, create joints, and sew clothes, and apply makeup for the doll.
Making a ball-jointed doll involves molding clay, cutting joints, and firing them at 120 to 130 degrees Celsius. The loose joints are strung together with string, and the doll is given makeup, hair, and accessories. It typically takes 2 to 3 months to complete a basic doll.
The doll is highly detailed, with the skin, eyes, and clothes made very meticulously.
Many people seek out Da's works, including doll collectors from around the world.
My goal is to share Vietnamese culture with friends around the world. Recently, I created a piece of art called the Nat Bin doll, inspired by the people of Vietnam in the past. I want to share it with more people, so I opened a workshop to teach others how to make dolls. These small, basic dolls serve as a stepping stone for pursuing their passion.
Having loved ball-jointed dolls since 6th grade, Thịnh Đa has researched and created them himself, completing 50 unique pieces. His works are no longer just inanimate toys. They have become unique pieces of art with high collectible value.
Coming up next in our world news, Russia arrests German for terrorist activities. And AI-powered underwater robots aim to transform offshore wind farm maintenance. The Russian Federal Security Service, or FSB, has arrested German citizen Nikolai Gaiduk, who Russia accuses of planning terrorist attacks on energy facilities and of being involved in the gas pipeline explosion in Kaliningrad in March. The suspect was arrested while attempting to enter Kaliningrad from Poland. Authorities found 500 millimeters of liquid explosives in his car. He is currently in custody, and Russian security officials are continuing their investigation to identify and prosecute others involved. The German Foreign Ministry has not yet commented on the matter. Billionaire Elon Musk, who was recently nominated by U.S. President-elect Donald Trump to head the agency that promotes the efficiency of the U.S. government, aims to cut more than $500 billion in government spending through a plan to reduce personnel. Musk revealed that the agency he will lead will prepare a list of regulations issued by government agencies without congressional approval, which President Trump can then nullify by executive order. He added that eliminating regulations will pave the way for massive cuts across the entire federal bureaucracy. Australia's Communications Minister Michelle Rowland on Thursday proposed to the country's parliament the world's first bill to ban people under 16 from using social media platforms. Currently, 2/3 of teenagers aged 14 to 17 in Australia have accessed extremely toxic content on social media. 95% of Australian parents and guardians believe that ensuring safety in cyberspace is one of the biggest educational challenges. Communications Minister said that this bill aims to establish a new standard and value in Australian society, helping to protect rather than isolate young people. The bill has received strong support from Australian politicians. Once approved, social networks will have 1 year to find a way to limit the age of users. A UK-developed AI-powered autonomous underwater robot is being created to inspect and repair offshore wind farms. Known as the UNITE project, Underwater Intervention for Offshore Renewable Energies, it aims to perform high-precision tasks in rough seas. More on this in the following.
Over 2,600 wind turbines are located offshore here. By 2030, the UK government wants to see that number quadruple. Each turbine typically requires a maintenance check 3 times a year. That's where the autonomous underwater robots come in.
We're trying to remove people from those dangerous situations, and also there's not enough people to do the kind of inspections or the frequency of inspections that are needed. So that's kind of the big problem that we're trying to solve here.
The robots are currently undergoing trials in Edinburgh as part of the government-backed $1.7 million project. The robot's AI integrates 3D mapping technology, enabling it to create detailed underwater maps. This helps the robot navigate complex offshore structures and precisely identify components requiring maintenance.
So our artificial intelligence is mainly a big autonomy engine that is analyzing the environment to see where should the robot go next to collect good data about the environment and how to autonomously navigate between these different places and also utilize the environment to its advantage.
If successful, the system could deliver data insights in as little as 3 hours. That's a significant improvement from the current industry standard of 3 weeks.
And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's it for this edition of VTV News. Thank you very much for watching. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store or Google Play or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4Go. Goodbye for now.